I think we should sort of separate it into two different things because there's a distinct difference between pricing your own
Well, I think like why don't we
development
talk about like
hours.
freelance hours and then we'll
Yeah.
talk about like
And
products
then
too,
like an
because there's a
app.
huge difference. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you guys want to start, or I'm happy to give you sort of my 2 cents. I don't know.
I
Well,
mean,
there's this
okay.
incredible dev tracker tool
There is.
that
I
That was
I think
have
is
to
in
like
beta and
rebuild
hasn't been
that.
formally
Yeah,
released, but
right.
yeah, it works really well.
yeah.
Why do
I'll
you
have
think, I
to
don't know.
revibe code that up.
Hmm.
I think that probably the biggest thing most people struggle with when they first start, especially like on their early projects, is like valuing themselves correctly.
Yeah, and
Because
like
like,
how much to charge. I mean,
and also, and scope creep, not letting the people like run over them
yes.
with free stuff. I think those are like the biggest things. Like, and so I think like honestly, like, pricing wise, if you're doing something for a friend or something, it's whatever, if it's your first thing. But like usually like
Yeah.
50 to 75 is a good starting point, I think, per hour for your work because it's gonna
Yeah.
take you longer, but it's also you gotta value yourself for what you're doing and the intelligence you have. Yeah.
I just actually had a thought when it came to this. So like if you take a look at the jobs that you would want to do, like let's say you're looking for some type of developer job and you see that they pay $102,000 a year. Well, it turns out that's $51 an hour.
Yeah.
So you can
Yeah.
just charge that much and plug that in for your hours.
Yeah. I
That's a
had
good way to do it.
I had an interesting conversation actually at a meetup recently with this lady who is an interior designer, and she wanted me to build her a website. And I asked her, I was like, have you ever talked to anyone else about having like building you a website? And she's like, yeah, I talked with this agency and they wanted to charge me like $15,000 to do like the website and the branding and like all this other stuff. And I was like, okay, I mean, that sounds reasonable. Like, what did you have
That's
in
not that
mind?
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, what did you want? And she's like, well, I don't know. And one of the things that I've seen frequently when people first find out that you're a developer is everybody wants like to be the idea person and give you the idea
Yeah.
as the developer to like build the whole thing, and then they'll just take half of the cut of it. Like it's a very common thing. I'm sure you guys have
Dude,
experienced that
Yes.
before.
that's the thing. Like ideas are a dime a dozen. Not even.
Yeah.
Ideas are like,
They're like
a infinity
tenth of a
for
penny
nothing.
a
Yeah.
dozen.
I remember I knew this guy who got so bent out of shape because somebody actually
Stole
executed his
idea.
ideal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he had this idea that he talked about for years and years and years and never did anything. And then somebody
Yeah.
else did it. And he was so pissed off that they would do that. I'm like, dude, the idea
You
is
didn't
the
do
easy
anything.
part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the execution. And
Hmm.
so this lady was, I had this conversation with her because I was like, explain to me exactly what you want. And then she started explaining and she's like, well, I want a website. And I was like, okay, what will the website do? And she's like, well, it'd be great if it could like sell stuff. I'm like, okay, so now you want an e-commerce website. And she's like, yeah, and it would be great if it could do like virtual like renders of things. And like, okay, now you're talking about a web app and a e-commerce site.